Everybody, it's Bruno on MB, where it can't all be serious, and I'm joined by Mitch Hardington. Mitch, how you doing?
Oh, I'm fantastic, Bruno. How are you?
Well, we're going to find out in a couple of minutes because you put up this little thumbnail. Passive income is a reality. So how are we going to get this quick rich scheme going right away? Like, what are we doing? Unloading cars, stealing cars? What are we doing?
You know what? I don't think you could ever call anything a get rich quick scheme, because if you do that, people aren't going to believe you.
Well,
So,
I'm here.
yeah, fair enough. So what I focus on actually is we help investors earn passive income through real estate and have
Okay.
been incredibly successful with it. It's a little niche that I don't like to tell too many people about, but at the same time, I want to tell everybody about.
Mm-hmm. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So our company strictly focuses on building multifamily buildings, and we're doing it in and around the Edmonton, kind of greater Edmonton area. And we partner with investors, people who are looking to earn passive income, and we do all the day-to-day work in terms of finding the buildings, finding the lots, doing the construction, doing all the management. And at the end of the day, the investor just gets to collect the month-to-month passive income. They get to collect the equity every time we refinance, and they're doing it, or we're doing it in a way where the investment's secure, your name is on title, and it's just a really, really, really cool formula.
So is it like back in the day? We're talking back in the day when the snow was up to our knees and walking to school uphill. Is it like a rental pool?
Uh, Sort of. So I usually work with like 1 to 2 investors on a project. And when you go into those like older neighborhoods in those, great areas of town, you're like, man, I'd really love to live here. But the houses are all like those bungalows on these giant lots. And then you
Mhm.
see those infills kind of popping in. That's what we're doing. So we're buying those lots, tearing them down, and building these new houses. And then we're renting them out to like professionals. We have a very specific tenant profile. Like, we're staying away from student housing and all that kind of fun stuff, but we're very specific on trying to rent to professionals. So that's how we're earning the passive income, is through rentals, through mortgage pay down, through equity in the building, through appreciation.
How did you get involved in this?
Oh, that's a long story. I'll try and keep that short.
Sure, well,
Uh, I
people want to know.
Yeah, I started back in 2007, working for a custom home building company out in BC. And I started like any other kid who wanted to make it big. I started pushing a broom on a job site. I'd show up and I'd throw away the lumber and I'd sweep the broom. And I thought, man, I'm really going to make it one day. Um, Fast forward in that company over, 2, 3 years, you start realizing there is a lot to this gig that I just don't even know yet.
Mhm.
So by the end of 8 years, I buckled down, kind of got taken under my boss's wing, and moved into the project management space, moved into helping run the company, started managing kind of large portfolios. And all we did was build homes for the rich and famous. So I've got a very in-depth and experienced knowledge before I even started doing what I'm doing now, just building high-end luxury homes, working with cities, working with, trades and construction, making sure that we're delivering the best possible product we could. But then fast forward from that, I chickened out, actually, to tell you the truth. I chickened out when I first wanted to start business. Kind of was raised in a family where you go to school, you get an education, you get a job with a pension. That's kind of where that came from. So I panicked and I quit. So then I went to school, became a school teacher for a while, and 2017 is where the business really started to take shape, because that's when I started real estate investing kind of as a job. And that fast forward to where we are today, through mentorship and a lot of trial and error and a lot of failing and a lot of not paying mentors soon enough, have I kind of developed the company we have now.
Good for you. So you're a co-founder?
Co-founder, yeah, me and one other, just the two of us. We started it in a basement suite and been running it kind of upwards ever since then.
Wow. So I guess the old saying, those who are too chicken to do become a teacher, and those
Yeah.
who unchicken out build houses, right?
Yeah, that's exactly like everybody says. That's the saying I've heard once or twice before.
So, you know, any, I guess, anything you learned from teaching that brought it back down here, other than, I'm just joking about the chickening out. You said that. There's nothing wrong with teaching. I'll tell you, it's a tough
Oh
profession,
yeah.
but you're kind of capped. But what did you learn from teaching that you're bringing to
Oh,
to the table?
What didn't I learn from teaching? Teaching was one of those jobs that pushed me so far outside of my comfort zone. It really teaches you to like get in front of people and be comfortable just talking and being comfortable that you know what you know and you're okay to share it. It really taught me how to like pitch deals, how to take my knowledge of what I want to do and share it with people. There's nothing more terrifying than getting in front of a group of grade 7 students and delivering a lesson, because you know that if it is terrible, within the first 30 seconds, some kid's going to put their hand up and go, Mr. Hardington, you're off today. This kind of sucks.
Yeah.
Like, they are brutally honest. And just through that, like, nurturing relationship, working with teams and learning how to work with kids, like, it is leaps and bounds transferable to what I'm doing now.
What did you teach?
I taught math, science, and PE.
Oh, phys ed?
Phys ed, yeah.
You know what they actually say, right, about teachers?
Yeah, those that can't teach, teach phys ed.
Those who can't teach, those who can't teach teach phys ed. And I think that's just so mean, but we
Yeah.
use that all the time, right? So,
Yeah.
but you got something else going on talking about getting in front of people. You have a new video show coming up on the YYC Calgary network and also on the Megapix network. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, we're going to take a deep dive into entrepreneurship, and the show is called Elevated Business. And I have this idea behind it because I've always been interested in hearing successful people's stories about where their journey started, how they got to where they are. But I find a lot of times people skip over the mindset, like the challenging times and like what pushed them through. What did they actually do? Why did they keep doing what they're doing to get to where they are now? There's a lot of great stories of successful entrepreneurship, but I really want to dig into that mindset side of things, into the why and how they overcame their like struggles, so that we can empower the next generation of entrepreneurs, showing like, hey, if they can do it, you can do it.
Let's get back to teaching. Jack Black was the coolest teacher on film, wasn't he?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Did you have like any School of Rock things or anything like that?
I am the least musically gifted person that you'll probably ever meet. I might be able to sing the odd note, but when it comes to playing any instruments, like the drums would be what I can do, just because you can hit things and music comes out. But outside of that, like, no.
Well, maybe you can kind of build homes, passive income, and those who don't get rented out too much, you can rent it out to bands, right?
Yeah,
So
like you guys, right?
I don't know about that. So we don't rehearse anywhere near as much as we need to, but hey, we got the t-shirts, who cares, right?
Right.
So here's what I was going to ask you. In terms of going back to your business, Elevated Equity, give me the profile you're looking for.
We are looking for people who want to earn passive income. Somebody who has like a professional type job, and a professional job means you have a full-time job. We're looking for people who have full-time jobs. Maybe they have a little bit of equity in their house that they want to put to work. Maybe they've got a bit of cash off to the side that they're looking to invest, and they don't necessarily want to invest in bank products. Real estate is just an amazing little gem, because you earn $500 to $600 a month in passive income. And with ROIs like are when we're buying in our projects, we're seeing an annualized ROI of like 20% a year. So we're cracking the water off bank products and helping people earn passive income so they can start going on those trips that they want to. You know, get your money working for you. I love that mindset of people who are like, hey, I've got money. I want it to make more money. Like, I want to partner with you. That's the kind of person I want.
Well, it sounds like if you're looking for passive income, let's say in the real estate game, and you have a full-time job, I'm just kind of repeating everything you said, hopefully backwards. You don't have time to go collect the rent, fix faucets, all that fun
Exactly.
stuff, right? So you put in the money, help it grow, and you collect your dividend or your profit at the end of the month, year, right?
Exactly. Yeah, a lot of people want to be involved in real estate, but there's a notion that's like, oh, I'll just buy a property and I'll rent it. And if you've ever done that, you realize it's a lot of work. Like, there's a lot of things you need to know in order to run a successful real estate company. So why not let me help you? Like, let's find that win-win solution where you get to be involved in real estate, you get to earn passive income, and I get to help you, streamline that service to make it as profitable as it can be.
Yeah, being a landlord is really, really simple until it's your like best friend's wedding and you're the best man and you get a call and they lose the keys and the water's running,
Yep.
right? And so, yeah, it's all simple when you watch, the big boys do it, but and the big girls. But so here's what we're gonna do. Gonna have a little fun
Let's do
because
it.
people want to get to know you. Hey, when's your first episode on the business channel there?
We're hitting studio mid-February, it sounds like, for the first taping. So probably a week or two. End of February, early March will likely be when the first one comes out.
Nice. Any hints on who you're bringing on
I think
as a
the
guest?
first episode, I don't want to give too much away, but I'm interviewing a guy who's in the real estate space, who has a really cool story about how he redeveloped his identity before he was able to take his business to the next level. I think there's some really powerful insights around, knowing who you are before you're able to move forward.
Sounds interesting. Everybody, and I think it's, you can quantify this or maybe dismiss it, but YouTube has changed everything. Forget about the internet itself. I get it, right? That's the channel,
Yeah.
but YouTube, depending on what you watch, and they catch you on the algorithm. But it seems like younger people are more interested, aware. Now you're a young guy too. I'm a little older, but back then it took, the older guys say buy a duplex and sell it and rent it and all that kind of stuff, sublet it or whatever you want to call it, subdivide it. Kids are like, hey, I got $50. How do I get it to work for me?
Mhm.
And I'm never going to bust anybody's dreams. I'm like, it's going to take, you need a full-time job, you need it, all that kind of stuff. But are you getting younger and younger people saying, hey, I got X amount of dollars, it might not be millions, and they're just so interested in it?
Yeah, because you nailed it on the head. The mindset has shifted. It's like, hey, I've got some cash. I can either go on one holiday and then my cash is gone, or
Mm-hmm.
I can invest it into a project which then pays me. Then I can go on this holiday that's paid for, and I still get to make more money in the long term. Like the mindset shift is changing. And just to clarify, you don't need millions of dollars to get involved in real estate. Like we do entire projects for less than 200 grand. So
So what's the minimum buy-in if you're okay with saying that?
yeah, the project that we're currently looking at, we're looking for, we're thinking of maybe opening up to people with like 25K, but usually it's right around 50 grand, and we pull
Okay.
together 4 people, 50 grand.
Okay. So I know for some young people thinking, like that's a lot of money. I'm just saying that's way easier to get than $1 million, right?
Right? Yeah, and
So,
we're buying
okay, you
two and a
ready
half
to
million
go,
dollars worth.
people?
Of,
Oh,
oh,
sorry,
sorry,
go
what was
ahead.
that? I was saying we're buying $2.5 million worth of real estate for 200 grand. So
Right. So, all right. So I think people need to get to know you and even a little bit more. And best way to do it is just take a deep breath. And this is the tough part of the interview. I'll tell you that much. Okay.
love it.
You've been ringing off all the technical answers and all that fun stuff. And then I ask you the really, really, really hard questions. And oh man, that's a tough one. So you ready?
Yep,
Okay. We call this rapid fire. What's your favorite food?
ribs.
Ribs?
Love ribs. Oh my goodness, a nice slow cooked ribs for the day, throw it on the barbecue, it just falls off the bone. Oh my goodness, just love that.
What's your favorite restaurant? Doesn't have to be here.
Oh, favorite restaurant? Probably the Keg.
Oh,
I don't know.
really? Do
Yeah,
they
I
have
don't know
ribs
why.
there?
They do, but they make a really good like steak Oscar with their like garlic mashed potatoes. I just love that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. What's your favorite ribs? Oh, you just make your own ribs. Okay. What's your favorite movie?
Ooh, favorite movie. Now, movie or series?
Yeah, ever since Netflix. I will allow it, but that's not cool.
Okay, well then I'll just go back. Favorite movie
There you go.
currently is the original Top Gun.
Really?
Yeah, I love the original
Were you
Top Gun.
even
And it's,
born when it came out?
no, but it can still be my favorite.
So I got to tell you, I was in San Diego and Oceanside, and there's the place where he had the ice cream.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you look at that scene, and there's a motorcycle outside, and it's a little ice cream spot. Funny thing is I was just waiting, and there's a motorcycle there, and I was just like, "Hey, that's a cool motorcycle." And I'm kind of leaning not on the motorcycle, I'm not that unaware, but there's
Yep.
like and it happens to be the place where he. So everybody's lining up, and I was just kind of like accidentally in the lineup, but I wasn't moving. So there's a lineup for people to take a picture on the motorcycle that he was having I guess his first date. I'm not a big Top Gun fan, but
Yeah.
I learned then like, are you done taking a picture? I go, no. So anyways, look at it. It's really cool if you're a Top Gun fan, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
did you
cool.
like two? Did you like two?
I did. I loved to. I love how they progressed it in the animation, and yeah, it was super cool.
So here's the other thing is let's go with favorite place you want to travel to.
Bora
So
Bora.
so you haven't been to.
I have not been to Bora Bora, and I want to go. I think it's on my vision board, and I love the scenery there. To stay on those little huts on the water where you get the glass bottom like floor. Yeah, Bora Bora.
You're the second guest in a little while that says Bora Bora, and it wasn't even on my radar. So I looked it up and I was like, ooh, it's a pretty
Yeah.
cool place. Place that you've already been to that's your favorite place.
Curacao. Oh, Antigua and Barbuda. Yeah.
Okay. What did you like most about that?
I have a slightly different experience there. I actually, during my teaching training, I went there on 3 different summers, and I taught at a school for kids with disabilities there, and I taught them like life skills, motor skills, basic PE. So I have my heart is there because I got to know the people really well. I got to see the sights, the island, just the warmth, the low key vibe. I just love it there.
And you're a BC person, so that came as an Alberta now too, right? So it's a little different out there for sure. Mm-hmm. How about favorite? We said movie, favorite actor.
Oh, that's a.
I told you they're tough.
They are tough. Liam
Hey,
Neeson.
listen, spend less time making people money and think of yourself and watch more movies, right?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, totally unacceptable. My bad. I apologize to all the viewers.
What are you doing?
It's horrible. Liam Neeson.
Canadian. Is he Canadian? No, he's not Canadian.
Is he? I don't know, but I love his stuff.
Let me check my producer. Is he Canadian? No, I can't remember if he's Canadian.
It's got to be Googled immediately.
Let's Google. Yeah, just do it. Let's go.
Okay, I'm doing that right now. I'm just gonna pull my phone out. We're gonna go. We're at Liam Neeson.
I'm really good at messing that stuff up, right? He's probably from Paraguay.
Paraguay. Northern Ireland.
Wow. Why did I think he was Canadian? I don't know why. Well, he's handsome enough to be Canadian. How's that? That's good enough. Okay, so person that's alive today that you would like to meet, and what would you ask that person?
Ooh, there's a few. You know what? I think it would have to be Wayne Gretzky.
Really?
Yeah. I want to know how he transitioned out of like such a successful hockey career into such a successful like business / like grandfatherhood that he's in. Like a lot of people, when they leave professional sports, they don't necessarily like keep going. Like in Michael Jordan would be another example. But like just that transition, I find so fascinating of how you were so successful in one arena and how you transplanted that into another.
You know what I would ask Wayne Gretzky?
What?
I would ask him, and I'm being serious, I would actually ask him why he's promoting gambling during hockey games when kids are watching. I'm not bashing the guy.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I can't get my head around that. Like, does he really need the money? Or I've always, hey, listen, hands down, best hockey player of all time. Mm-hmm. Greatest ambassador, maybe of our time. Who knows, right? Next to Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson when now that he's moved to Ireland. So, but I when I watch his commercials, I'm like, doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So, did you ever watch him play? Are you?
He played when I was younger, but I don't really recall much of it. But he was around when I was younger.
So I'm going to tell you a story. If you like Wayne Gretzky, is that I grew up in Ottawa, the Holy Land, full of holes. Mm-hmm. And when he was 16, he's older than I am. And when he was 16 years old, he played for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. And he was like the wonder kid. And we had this player called Bobby Smith, and I was really, really, really young. The only game in town that we didn't have the Senators or anything. And that barn was packed. And I don't know how my dad got tickets because we were not like the most affluent people. But everybody was talking about the 16-year-old kid we thought he was from Sault Ste. Marie.
Mhm.
And Bobby Smith was all that. And whoa, like he was 16 and he was like his equipment was just dripping off of him, right? And he had that little helmet and just how in the world, like just hit him, like just hit him. It was very physical, but nobody could catch him, right?
Yeah, right.
And that was the first time ever that us kids from Ottawa saw him kind of take care of the behind the net when he was dishing off. And sure enough, next day, like, we're on, this on the streets playing street hockey and everybody's behind the net. We couldn't pull that shit off. Right. But, like he's the greatest, but that's the question I would ask him without being, too much of a jerk. But like,
Yeah.
a lot of these guys are promoting that. Maybe they just need the money. I don't know. Right.
It's almost, you raise a really good point, because there's a lot of professional athletes out there that are promoting things that it's like, is this really what you want your brand to represent? But it's almost like their agents are just trying to find whatever they can plaster their face on to make money. And it's kind of like, is money really the be all end all, or does your integrity kind of matter? So that's a really good question.
Well, here's the other thing. Hey, listen, I hated the Montreal Canadiens, and I don't care what people say. I just didn't like them. And it's kind of a silly reason why, and I'm not going to get into it. But there was a player called Chris Nyland, and they called him Knuckles Nyland. And he ruined many Saturday nights us watching hockey because, the fights and all that kind of stuff. And they were just that good back then. So
Yep.
Knuckles went through a journey, and I'm not pretending I know the guy, but I watch his podcast. He brings in all these older guys and stuff like that. And Ty Domi was on there. And you remember Ty, the
Yep.
fighter. And I guess he's done very, very well. To your point of the integrity kind of thing, on that podcast, he ends up calling Mark Wahlberg, right? And I guess some tequila brand they're in on, right?
Cool.
And so Wilbur gets on, good old Boston guy and talking to Chris Nyland from Boston and whatever. And he's like, "Hey, Mark, how you doing?" He's like, "Good, man. What's going on?" Like, "Hey, Ty, whatever." And he goes, "Good luck with the tequila brand." And Mark goes, "Yeah, man, stay off the booze." I'm like, it was kind of weird. Like it's a
Yeah.
great episode because Ty Domi was actually really, really good.
Huh.
And Knuckles, I love Knuckles as I'm promoting him if I can, but it was just really weird that he would say like because story behind the story is that two hosts on the Knuckles Raw Knuckles with Chris Nyland. He's a recovering alcoholic, substance abuse, and so is his co-host. So good luck with the vodka, and he was just immediately said that. So I'm thinking, to your point, like why are you? And Gene Simmons, I met him a year ago
Cool.
promoting his vodka, and I actually met him and I asked him, I said, "Do you even drink this?" He goes, he's never had a drop of alcohol, he says, and he's promoting it. And it was just kind of weird.
Huh.
I think it's called Money Bags. He gave us all a couple.
Cool.
So Minhas Breweries is I guess producing it, right? So all right.
Interesting.
So that's who you want to meet, and that's what you want to ask them.
Yep.
Somebody who's passed away you like to meet, and what would you ask them?
Huh. This might come out of left field, but I don't know why. It's a name that I can't get out of my head right now. But Martin Luther King Jr.
Okay.
And I would just want to know, like, what happened in his life that put him on the direction to become like the influential speaker that he was. Because there's always something in somebody's life that steers a boat or directs the water. But like, what was it for him? Because that's one part of his story that I just don't know. We know the great, like, what he did, but like, how did you get there? Again, that's just me wanting to know the how. Like, how, why, like, what was it?
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I get that once in a while. Favorite band?
Favorite band? Oh.
Did you get one? Did you get one of those?
Yeah.
You did? Okay, I was going to give you one next time, but
That's too bad. Favorite band? That's another really loaded question. Let's go back to this. You'd be like, really, you? But I grew up listening to the like old school Eminem. So I'd have to
All
say,
right.
that. Yeah.
Favorite song? Not of
Um,
Eminem, but favorite song of all time.
favorite song of all time. Man, I don't know that I have a favorite song of all time. These are some great questions. Not
Well,
something
people
you
want to
think of.
get to know you. You know
Yeah.
what? I'm going to tell you something. Long story. I don't know if you can see it, but big Yankees fan.
Mhm.
And truth of the matter is, we've met people on a beach, and just because we had Yankees hats, and became
Cool.
really good friends. So you know what? You say the right thing, you're going to attract the right investor. So
Yeah, right. Fair enough. You know what? I'm gonna have to go with a current song of mine, and it's called "Creator" by Phil Wickham. I gotta go with that one. I
okay,
love the beat.
that's good. That's good. You got any nicknames?
Not any that I can say on air.
No? Okay. I told you that really, really, really uh sorry, there you go. I have to tell you that really close. I pushed for the name Mitch for Mitch and Charlie, actually, for my first son,
Yeah.
right? And so Mitch was a really, really good friend of mine and back in the day. And so I always, when I was introduced to you, I said, okay, we're gonna get along, right? So um what's your favorite sport?
Hockey.
Hockey? Are you a Canucks fan?
No.
No.
No,
Who do you cheer for?
I love to cheer against the Canucks. This will cause more problems. I'm a Leafs fan.
Oh, okay, that's all right.
Yeah. Yeah, the good old days of Curtis Joseph, Matt Sundin, Pat Quinn. Oh, the glory age. I loved watching that time.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys get to enjoy your golf season earlier every year. It's all good.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Like I said, I'm from that area. I was a Flyers fan for years and years and years.
Mhm.
And but we always didn't hate the Leafs because they were harmless, right? So I'm dating myself for some of the,
Yeah.
it was kind of like that poodle that kept barking, and it was
Right?
just like they're not gonna fight. Like it's okay, right? So
Yeah.
here's something for you. And your favorite athlete, did you say Wayne Gretzky? I guess he's the guy that.
No, favorite athlete. Huh. Michael Phelps. I think what he accomplished in changing the face of swimming was pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do, like,
Yeah.
it was unreal what he did, right? And he was kind
Yeah.
of a character too, right?
Yeah.
He was an interesting character. He kind of reminds me a little bit, like his attitude is the modern day Aaron Rodgers right now,
Mm.
who they kind of just say what's on their mind.
Kind of
But I
quirky.
think, yeah, but Aaron's kind of ruffled a few feathers, kind of
Uh-huh.
entertaining now too. All right,
Yep.
here's the part where you can ask me one question only.
One question and one question only. Okay. Um, if you could go back and change one thing, what would it be?
Like in my life or just
Yeah, one thing in your
in
life. Like,
history, like Back to
no,
the
one
Future and
thing.
steal the car?
No, one thing in your life around business. If you could go back and change one thing in your life around business, what would it be?
Okay, so if it's just straight business, um, I probably would have now, the worst thing that happened to me in business, and it's probably a lot of business people, is you trust people and they don't pay you,
Hmm.
which I believe it should be. I know you can laugh because you're younger than me, but people laugh, and then if you know, you're like me, I don't wish any bad thing on people. I think that's the problem.
Mhm.
Um, But I almost think that if you steal from people, it should be punishable by death. If you know you're not going to pay somebody back,
Yeah.
because and people laugh and they go, "Whoa, you're bitter." It's not that. It's if you steal money from a business person, you are literally ruining my life and ruining my
Mhm.
family's life. And to try to, like, I'm not talking people kind of, you got a free spin if something really, really bad happens and we're in it together or something like that. But if you know you're not going to pay the guy back,
Yeah.
and I think that that's the biggest lesson I learned is that I wish I would have. So I have this, I have three wonderful partners, Megapix. You've met two out of the three. And I'm not saying getting partners is the be all end all, but I wish I had those partners when I was running my business, because at least one of them, I think, has an incredible bullshit meter.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
I think I would have got less nipped. And when you're owed money, it's not fun. And I think that's the one thing I would, maybe change, is that I would maybe involve a few more people in not even decision making, but just kind of like, hey, come to a meeting with me, that kind of stuff. I don't really have any regrets. And I would change anything, because it is what it is. You find out as you get older, it is what it is, and you make decisions along the way. And I don't think it's a decision on technology or funding or anything like that. I think the biggest decision you make is, are you going to be responsible to your family?
Hmm.
Right? Is that going to be your number one priority? Or is it beating Elon Musk to the billionaire podium? Right? And what I found was, might not be fair, but some of the more popular billionaires, you find out they weren't really great with the family or stuck around. And there's no guarantee that your family's going to even like you at the end. But
Yep.
at the end of the day, that's the big question that you have to ask yourself. Is it worth it to you to leave a legacy that you don't know your family, you don't care about your family, and become a billionaire, trillionaire, right?
Hmm.
So I don't think any of those, those were tough ones, because I think if all I need to do is take care of myself and just make a ton of cash and be out every night and do this and that and the other thing, I don't think becoming a multi-millionaire is that hard. If you're
Hmm.
and screwing people, that's pretty simple. Just lying to people and go to the next city, right? So
Yep.
I think that's the number one thing that I maybe would change, is really enlist some and pay them and say, I want you to come to the meeting. And I think we have that with our Megapix company, because none of us really, really need partners, but we decide to work together. And we're just brutally honest with each other and very, very, very respectful. It's never
Yep.
personal. So I think that's my answer. I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, I can totally resonate with that, because one part of my story that we didn't touch on is, after I spent my time in teaching, I actually ended up in policing, and I did that for a while, and that's kind of where the birth of um, my podcast is coming from, because I was diagnosed with PTSD, overcame it.
oh
I'm,
wow.
I'm big in the face of mental health now, being like, mental health is something that we need to deal with, yada yada yada. This whole other side of things, but I can totally understand that side of, like, trust, honor, integrity are so vital. And you can have all the money in the world, and if you wanted to, like, for example, using my business, if you threw all the money in the world at me, being like, hey, take my money and invest it, but you're not a person of honesty and integrity, and they're not somebody that I can trust, I'm not going to work with you. Because just like you said, at the end of the day, it's the legacy we leave behind. It's like, I have to be able to look my family in the eyes at the end of every day and know that the family is the only thing that's going to be there when your job isn't. So am I doing what's best for me and my family, versus am I doing what's best for, Mitch per se?
No, that's awesome. Yeah, yeah. In these episodes, people ask me questions, and some people like them, some people don't like my answers. But I'm just like, to be honest with you, you can make a faster gadget, you can make more money, you can buy more real estate, and this, that, and the other thing. But if at the end you get screwed, and then you're left alone, and you say, "Wow," you look behind you, and there's nobody around you because you've alienated everybody, and that's a tough one. Like
Yeah.
we live in a really, really, really tough time right now. I almost feel for the younger generation. I never say, oh, those Gen Ys and X and Gs and whatever you want to call them. I look up to younger people. I think you've seen it at our events. Like, I really gravitate to people that are up and comers, because they're going to be paying our pension, and we don't owe anything to anybody. Like, trust
Right.
me, our generation owes nothing to anybody. But I do think that if you're going to complain about somebody, go tell them in their face. And I just think the new generation, 35, 40 and under, you guys are up against, pushing water uphill a little bit, and gonna have to make some real tough decisions. And our generation failed you guys a little bit, and our generation ahead of us maybe failed us a little bit. And it's really, really, it's going to be a lot of fun. Like, the opportunities you guys have, there's a lot more zeros in your opportunities at the end of the paycheck. But you guys have to make really good decisions. If I can talk about real estate, can we talk about real estate for a couple of minutes?
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking, I'm going to try to clarify that. Over the Christmas break and stuff like that, we're down south, and conversations where, you know what, young people can't afford housing, right? And I'm like, yeah, and I have my own opinion. It's like owning a house is an honor, a privilege. It's not a right, right? And they always, oh, I know what you're going to talk about was when you bought your first house, your interest rates were 15%, 18%, which is true, but the housing was cheaper. Okay, got it. And I go, listen, this is not a debate. I get the quantitative stuff. But I said the difference between your generation and my generation is that if I bought a house for $100,000 25 years ago and my interest rate was 10%, 12%, and I didn't make my payments and I lost my house, I was making okay money, $30,000, $40,000 a year, let's say, right? And I go down and I owe $100,000. Okay. It's a number. It's a big number. Back then it was a big number, but I think I could make it, right? Well, the younger generation, yeah, your interest rate is going higher and this and that and the other thing. You make the wrong deal. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're a real estate expert. I'm not. And you live in Toronto or Vancouver, or even Montreal. Montreal's gone crazy a little bit. And you buy a house 10% down, don't make the payments, you're in for $1 million, $1.5 million. I don't care how much money you make. You're in trouble. So that's why I said the biggest difference now is that when you guys and the younger people put down on the house and you mess up or you lose your job or whatever, you get divorced or something like that, you're talking a lot of zeros, right?
Yeah.
That's stressful. Like it was stressful when we were growing up. This is like exponentially stressful. So yeah, I mean, that's I really resonate with the younger people. You guys are going to have to really roll up your your pants and socks and figure stuff out. But I'm hopeful. I mean, there are young people at some of the events we have, and they're joining our little community, and man, they just want to learn. They just want to teach me. And I'm like, I'm the first one that's like, I'm learning from you. I can't even turn on my computer sometimes, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, you know what, Mitch, this was a great episode. I wish you all the best. How do people get in touch with you?
The best ways are send me an email at mitch@elevationequity.pro. Head over to our website, which is www.elevationequity.pro. Or for all the people who are kind of in the same age bracket as me or younger, you can find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn at Mitch Hardington, REI, for real estate investor.
What are you saying your age? I'm on the Facebook.
Yeah, it's not called the Facebook. That's how I know you're not my age.
And the Google. I'm on the Google.
Yeah. If you're not using Web3, you're not of my generation.
Hold on a second. I got to reboot my Netscape. Listen, here's the other thing. Congratulations on your new show.
Thank you.
You ever need anything, we're always behind you. I know you got a lot of fans in our network already. So keep up the great work. Really proud of what you're trying to do. And if ever you need anything, you just give us a call. And thank you very, very much. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was an awesome time. Thank you so much, Bruno. I appreciate it.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.